starting
Okay.
out, do anything and you will get better,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You don't have to like overthink it too much. But
Being
for
able to love yourself and, validate who you are without any form of expression of it. And that's why I feel like that's what true confidence is in my head. Because
It gives us a journey of self-discovery through our art. Yours might be music or film or writing.
Always been my outlook on everything in regards to life. If I see anybody who has anything, my default is if they can have it or if they can do it, so can I.
We get to
Yes.
speak. We get to do a podcast. We get to work out. We get to. It's a privilege that people often complain and take for granted.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight to move forward in life. Today is episode 41, and I'm joined by a good friend, Leandro. Leandro, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Anthony?
Good. No complaints. So this one's a long time coming. Leandro's had some cool experiences in the last little while, so we're going to get to know him a bit. But the first question, Leandro's, can you just introduce yourself to the audience and kind of explain the journey you're on?
My name is Leandro Bernardo. As most people probably don't know, I've known Anthony basically my whole life. We went to school together in elementary school and high school. And I've been trying to become a professional football player for my whole life, or soccer in North America. And yeah, that's the journey I've been on, and just basically what I've always wanted to do with my life. And I'm glad and happy that I'm a person that has known what I've wanted to do, because I know some people struggle to figure out what they want to do with their life. So I feel grateful and lucky that I know what I want to do, and I'm on that journey.
Yeah, so starting from the beginning, so you said you've always had this passion for soccer. I know it, like growing up with you, you always loved soccer. So when did it start, like that passion? Like how old were you? And when did you decide that, hey, I want to be a soccer player when I'm older?
I think basically when I started walking, my parents just put me on a field and I just fell in love with it. But I would feel that in the early years, I just played for fun. I didn't really stress about trying to go somewhere. I always had the idea of going somewhere and trying to become a professional, but the real passion, I would say, came around age 7, age 8, where I started feeling more passionate, more competitive and everything. I think you remember in elementary school, I would hate losing.
Yeah.
I hate getting scored on everything. I would throw tantrums and everything, start fights.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I would say around age 7, age 8 is when I started feeling more passionate for sure.
Yeah, I can remember when we were younger that there'd be times where you would be playing with the older kids and you would be out competing them. So like, I always knew that you were definitely way better than everyone else. And then I also wanted to see the journey as well, because I wanted to see how you would be able to compete with like the high school kids and stuff. But you're always there competing.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
It was good.
So what advice would you give to someone that is maybe like pursuing a long-term like goal or dream like you are, and throughout that journey they're doubting themselves, they're maybe other things are distracting them? How have you stayed so like disciplined on this one goal your whole life?
It's tough sometimes to stay disciplined, but I feel like the best advice I could give to someone is just trying to stay consistent. If you're consistent in your goal and you're focusing no matter what you go through, life's not always going to be, what I like to say, sunshine and rainbows. It's not always going to be happy. You're going to have down days. You're going to have bad sessions as well, because I've experienced that. But as long as you just keep pushing forward, and if you feel like, for example, if you don't, a day where you don't really want to train, you don't really want to do it anyway, because after you do it, you'll feel more accomplished, and you'll also feel that feeling of like, oh, I even feel better. I feel more motivated now. I want to do it again.
Yeah.
So I would just say my advice would be to just keep pushing forward no matter what and never give up. That's what I would say.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, Leandro, since we've talked, it's been like since high school where we kind of caught up. So walk me through what has happened in your soccer journey from high school till now. Like, go in detail.
So in high school, I was with my coach that I've known since 12 years old, with Inter Academy Toronto. I've played from U14 to under 21 with the academy. And we just went through that and playing in leagues, playing in games and everything, going to tournaments, stuff like that. And then under 21, we did an FTF showcase, and it was a great experience, you know, getting other schools to look at you for college and university. And then also I got an agent for schools in the US because I thought that that's what I wanted to do. For like to get into a school in the US, and it was going good. I still even get emails from schools from the US still sometimes. But yeah, that wasn't the path that I wanted to take because I wanted to take it professional instead of getting an education. But yeah, and then I had the amazing experience from high school, you know, playing on a little bit of the junior team, then the senior team, which was a great experience going to, I believe we went to London for OFSA. But we lost in the semis, which is very upsetting. But it happens, and then, now I'm just focusing on trying to go pro still again. I had a great experience 3 months ago where I went to live in Spain, and I got to play with a team in the Gibraltar Football League, and it was a great experience to learn and to know the level and things. And I got to learn a lot about myself. And
For sure.
yeah.
So you moved to Gibraltar by yourself, I assume?
Yeah, so, I went with my mom just so I can get the apartment that the club was going to give me for my trial.
I
Um,
see.
so then I just went with my mom for a week or two, and then she came back home, and I was living on my own for 3 months, which was, I feel like something I really needed because when you're on your own, you got, you know, your mom's not cleaning, your mom's not cooking for you, you're doing everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so I really got to learn a lot about myself. It helped gain me more confidence as well. And yeah, I really loved it. It's weird being back home because I landed like 3 days ago. So I'm
Oh,
getting
damn.
used to the time difference and the like getting back into my routine back home because the time difference is crazy. It's 6 hours in
Yeah.
Spain compared to here. And yeah, it was a great experience learning from professional football players. I got to play with a player that was used to play in second division in England. I was like, wow, like just watching. I was like, wow, I get to experience this. I'm living it. Um,
Yeah.
and you never would
Exactly
have
like your
thought.
dream as a kid.
Exactly, my dream as a kid, and you never would have thought, even though you've always had that dream of like, you always have it. But sometimes when you're living in the moment, it's like, wow, you're just mesmerized by it. Um,
Exactly, like it's actually happening.
it's actually happening. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a great experience learning from professional players, players from all over the world. I know people are probably like, some people don't even know the country Gibraltar. Some people don't even know because it's such a small country. And the little town
Exactly.
that I was living in Spain um, has more population than the country of Gibraltar, which is quite funny,
Really?
actually. Yeah, so I was living in a town called La Línea, um, and it has 66,000 people, and the country of Gibraltar only has 33,000 people. Um, and Gibraltar is a very rich country. You can tell once you cross the border, it's very rich. And I know that some people might think, like, what kind of league is this? I've never even heard of this country, but it's very high, very competitive, very physical um, in a smaller league. And I also got to be able to go to Denmark with them, which
Oh,
was a great
nice. Was
experience
there
because
like a tournament there?
yeah, so they had, do you know what the conference league is? Like those European competitions?
Yeah.
So they got through to the second round to qualify. So we had to play Copenhagen. I didn't get to play in it because I wasn't signed, but I got to train with them, which was great. In that big ass stadium, like imagine me thinking when I'm 3 years old, imagining I'm going to play in a big stadium, right? And then it
Yeah.
finally happens. Um, so yeah, great experience. Grateful that I had to have that experience, and it was just life changing, to be honest.
For sure. How did you feel like going from playing soccer here to playing soccer there? What was like the difficulty change? Like did you see like a lot more competitiveness, or it was kind of similar because everyone's trying to be their best?
Um, Competitiveness, it depends on the player, I would say, because there can
Yeah.
be really competitive players here, and I've competed against some really good players here and competitive. I think in Europe, the main difference is just the mindset and the mentality.
Yeah.
That's just the main difference. Like the mentality is way different. It's just working every day, going to training, staying later after training if you want to do more stuff, improve. It's just always working and getting better. Obviously, What I learned though is that some Spanish players, they're very more relaxed and calm. So they'll go to training, they'll do their training, and then after they'll hang out with family and things, which I envy that and I love that as well. But where I want to go, and I know my potential and my talent and the hard work that I do, I want to do more always.
Yeah.
And that's just how I've always been. And I feel like that kind of came with me through high school learning. Because before high school, I would just, I wouldn't really do extra stuff. I would just train when I would train, play soccer games on the weekend when it would come, and then that's
Yeah.
it. I would probably during the week, I don't know, homework, play some video games, whatever.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I realized if I want to, actually keep going and pursue my dream, I have to put in the extra work.
For sure.
Yeah.
So is that the what you would say to, like, in order for you to separate yourself, like while other people are done training, they go home, they go chill, relax a bit, you were still on the pitch?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, if you were allowed to be, because sometimes you wouldn't be allowed because we would have other teams from the league come and train.
Mm-hmm.
But even if even if you have to go back to the apartment or home or wherever you're staying, whatever, I would say, what can you do? I would always think to myself, what could I be doing right now?
That could be
So,
making you a better player.
yeah, exactly. So not just maybe on the field, off the field, you can be recovering, rolling your muscles, stretching your muscles, going for walks and things, just to keep the muscles moving and recovering and things. So it's not always on the field that I say I love this quote that I found on Instagram. People obviously, when they watch football, they watch you on the field, but it's
Mm-hmm.
what you do off the field that makes you a champion. It's what you do when nobody sees what you're doing. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
when nobody watches you, like nobody knows who I am, like in the sense of like the football world, if you know what I mean. Obviously that team knows me and things, but
Yeah.
no one knows me. So until I make like a name for myself kind of and stand out, then people will see the results and things. But people don't see what I'm doing right now because they don't know me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I just feel like working hard and always trying to ask yourself what you can do better in a day. And like I remember listening to some of your podcasts and talking about self-reflecting and things. It's a really big helpful tip that I think everybody should be doing is just reflecting on the day and things like that to see what they can do better.
Exactly. So how do you go about, like, improving yourself? Like, give me a daily routine. Like, are you training in the morning? Are you going out of your way to, like, do some mobility work so you're flexible and stuff? Like, what does a routine look like for you to become a better soccer player?
I usually go to physio to help me with this stuff about flexibility, strengthening, and things like that, just to strengthen some muscles because of some injuries that I've had in the past and things. Um, so I just keep going to make sure that I strengthen the muscles and everything's looking good. But typical day, wake up, have breakfast, wait a bit, maybe go for a walk. And then typically what I would do is I would go for a run or a jog, as some people like to say. And then I would come back, do an ab workout. And then depending what time training is, usually was at 9 around there, 8:30. So then I would go to training, come back, eat, recover, and then sleep. So I would always try and do things before training, not too much though, because I wanted to still be able to train because I don't want to wear out my muscles where then I do get injured when I train.
Exactly.
But yeah, I always try to do things every day. Since I'm just a little bit injured right now as well, I'm just waiting to see to feedback from physio and just to see what's going on really. But I literally asked my physio as well just because I remember when I had a previous injury, you know how there's exercises you can do to help strengthen it when you're
Yes.
injured, just so that, sitting around doing nothing, it's not really helping. But
Yeah,
even though I'm
exactly.
injured right now, I'm still doing my workouts. I'm still going for walks. I'm still doing these things just because I want to improve myself. And like we said before, people might not think that the extra 10 minutes I do on the bike or like the half an hour that I do on the bike every day at my house, the stationary bike that I have, people don't think, but it can really make your difference from here compared to other players to here. So you
Yeah.
can really, drastically change the gap you have between the average player and then the players that work. Because I've realized that, obviously having talent helps a lot, but to make it anywhere in life, to be successful, I would say you just have to do what other people aren't doing, and that is to be consistent and disciplined and to just keep working hard.
Exactly, because I feel like the type of position you're in with soccer, like you're almost there to being where you want to be. Like that gap is like this much, but like the work in between that gap is like endless. Like you
Yeah,
have to train
exactly.
so much, you have to make sure you're on your A game all the time because it's like you're saying you're doing 10 minutes extra on the bike every day. That's going to add up over a month. That's going to add up
Exactly.
over a year,
Like,
and that's where you separate yourself.
exactly. Like, I would say I have two inspirations for like professional athletes, although one of them passed away. R.I.P. Kobe Bryant, just because of his. It's not really like because I didn't really watch basketball much, but just seeing the videos and the mentality that he had, the Mamba
Yeah.
mentality of I saw a video of saying like he was talking about how some people they wake up at 8, they do a workout or whatever, they train 8 to 10 whatever, they rest recover, and then they go again 1 to 3 or something, and then they relax, eat, and then they go to sleep. But he wakes up at like 3, trains from like 4 to 6, rests 10 to 12 I think, and then he just keeps going. So instead of doing 2 sessions a day, he would do like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and
And
then
that and he's
that's a
still
crazy gap.
crazy gap. And he literally said, if you do that every day, right now you might not see a change. And that's what I think some people struggle with, is that they want to see a change right away, whereas they need to understand that it's going to take time to be on the journey. Like, and the fact that I'm still young helps. Like, I'm only 20 years old
Yeah,
when it comes to being a professional athlete. But there are players that don't make it until they're 25.
exactly.
So that's why I'm like, never give up. And then obviously for me, Cristiano Ronaldo as well, just because my man is 39 and he's still
Still
cooking.
killing it.
He's
Yeah,
cooking. And he's just, people can say because I'm Portuguese, whatever, he's my favorite player of all time. But it's not just because of what he does on the field, it's what the mentality he has. And I remember seeing an interview that he did, and he was talking and he was saying, do you think I like to go to the gym every day? He
yeah,
doesn't,
no,
no one in the world likes to go to the gym every day, but he knows he has to do it.
exactly.
That's what separates him from the best of the best.
Yeah. So how have you developed this kind of mentality? Because like you were saying, in elementary school, you kind of just went to training and you would play the games that were scheduled. But was it these influences that like developed your mindset, or was it like your own personal life where you seen like, hey, I need to step it up if I actually want to do this? Like, how
Um,
did you develop the
I
mindset you
think it
have
was a
today?
little bit of a mix of both, really. In elementary school, I didn't really, like I told you, I didn't really do much, just train on and off. But even in my backyard, I would just play, but I wouldn't consider it training because I was just having fun. So I would be
Yeah.
playing soccer every day from my whole life in childhood, elementary school, high school, but I didn't consider it training in a sense because I was just playing around with the ball in my backyard and having fun. When you get older, you kind of develop the mindset of like, okay, this is training. This is what you need to do. This is what you got to do to improve. Um, and I feel like it was a mix between both. And also, as a young player in my academy, watching older players, like the older teams when I was like 12 or something, and I would see like the 17-year-olds to see how, big they got, how fast they were. That kind of motivated me. So I think it was more the people around me that motivated me, the older players around me that motivated me more, because I was like, I want to get to that level. I want to improve. I want to get to that level and things like that. So yeah, I think it was a mix of, the inspirations from professional athletes and the inspirations just around me and things like that.
For sure. So I want to get into a little bit about the injuries that you've dealt with
Yeah.
recently and in the past. So talk me through that. Like what happened? How did you get injured? And what was your mindset while the injury happened? And what was the recovery like? I guess just go through it all.
Yeah. So I got injured in 2022. This is my biggest injury I've ever had. And I tore my ACL and my meniscus. And it was a pretty big injury. Um, it affected me mentally a lot. I'm not going to lie.
For sure.
So never having an injury like that. And I was told when I went to physio for the first time, it's just a meniscus problem. So I kept playing on it. So I didn't know
Oh,
it was,
really?
yeah, I didn't know it was anything bad, because meniscus isn't too bad. Like, it's just a quick little operation and then you're out for, I think, I don't know, maybe 6 months or something. And then, you come back, whatever. But I didn't even know I needed surgery or anything like that. Um, so then I kept playing on it. I played on it 3 times because they misdiagnosed me 3 times. And then
Holy shit.
and then my coach found out that, I was being misdiagnosed, and his son had surgery on his hip, and he was
Mm-hmm.
doing physio in Brampton, and I was just going to, the Paramount Center where the Steelheads
Yeah.
play? I was
Yeah.
just going there because it was closer to my house. Um,
Okay.
so then he told me is like, go to Brampton. And when I went to Brampton, completely changed. They're like, yeah, you tore your ACL, so you got to have surgery and things. Had the surgery. Um, during recovery was a long one. So for ACL surgery, they say about 6 to 9 months for recovery. And, I did everything I needed to, but I've never felt pain like that in my life for the first couple weeks.
After the surgery?
Yeah, after the surgery, I've never felt pain like that. And then even during the surgery, though, sorry, not during, right after the surgery, for the first couple days, you can't do anything. You're literally just a couch potato. You can't do anything. And
Really?
then, yeah, you can't do anything because they want to make sure that the body recovers because you lose a lot of muscle mass. Um, so then after I believe it was a week, they said you can start doing certain exercises to improve. Because I know that when I made the change from physio from Mississauga to Brampton now, it was a big difference, and I'm so happy I did because they have helped me a lot. I would go to physio twice a week for the first couple of months. Then we went back down to once a week because the bill was just out of control for going twice a week. So I couldn't keep going twice a week.
Yeah.
But doing exercise, once I was able to start doing exercises, my mentality changed from just being absolutely depressed and sad to, okay, now I have motivation to get back to where I was or to even get better,
Yeah.
and things like that. So then, after that, it was literally just focusing every day doing exercise. Whatever they told me to do, I would do it. I even asked them, can I even do extra of a certain exercise? And they're like, you know what? One of these exercises, which is literally just like quad flexes, you just flex your quad. It doesn't really affect, you can't really get injured from that. They said
Yeah,
you
because
can
there's
do
no
that
weight on it.
yeah, exactly. So they
Yeah.
literally said you can do that as many times as you want. So I would obviously rest for a couple hours just because, major operation and things. But every time I wasn't really doing anything, I would just flex my quads just to keep going. So yeah, my mentality changed from upset to just kind of focused on working hard and growing and getting better because if you have a mentality where, you go through a big injury or anything really in life, I feel like, and it's not going your way in the moment, you can't have that negative mentality. You have to try and stay positive and just keep pushing forward because eventually it will happen, your dream, or something better might even come along, something that you didn't even
Exactly.
expect. So the fact that I didn't even, after recovering and everything, I didn't imagine 5 months later I'd be on a professional football trial across the world.
So
And
your recovery ended up only taking 5 months instead of the 9 months.
no. So my recovery
Oh,
was a year, but after I recovered, um,
five
what I
months
was
after
meant to
that.
say, 5 months after I recovered, then I went to um, Spain. So because the research shows, because it was 6 to 9 months for the recovery, but research has shown now that it's better to wait a year. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I did because, I felt a lot better compared to the 9 months. And each stage and everything was just weird from the surgery because I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to jog again. I had to learn how to do all these things that I've known how to do my whole life. Um,
Yeah.
so it was just very odd at some points, but it was very demanding. And it was very demanding and it was very, um, like, it just made me improve. It made me stronger. That's why I'm actually, I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so this happened to me so that I can become stronger because maybe I was getting too comfortable before,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't know. And I'm a firm believer that if you're comfortable, you don't grow in life. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
And you, like you said, that was your first major injury, so you had never
Yeah.
like experienced anything like that.
I mean, the only thing that came close to that was when I was younger. I think you remember in high school seeing me with the boot on and I fractured
Oh
my
yeah,
ankle.
I remember that.
That
What
was
was that about?
that was only like 2 months. it wasn't that bad of an injury. But I forgot to mention, like, because I think you asked me how I got injured.
Mm-hmm.
So for the major injury I was in an FTF showcase and I dribbled past the player, and I've never experienced pain like this in my life when it came to like the impact of an injury right away. So
Yeah.
I dribbled past the player. I'm assuming he got pissed because I was destroying him the whole game. And then he,
Destroying the whole game.
he slide tackled me from behind, and then as I'm in the
Ooh.
air, I'm landing, I hear my knee twist, and then I land on
Oh,
my knee. So I've never felt pain like that. And then my dad
damn.
even has the audacity to come around the fence, because you know how my dad is. He's
Yeah.
very like mentally strong and traditional Portuguese. Comes around
Yeah,
the
exactly.
fence. Are you gonna go back on? Dad, I can't even straighten. I can't even walk properly. What do you want me to do? What do you want from me?
I thought you were gonna say he went up to the guy that tackled you and started yelling at him or something, but no,
He would
he's
have
like,
done
"Yo,
that though too.
he's like, oh, are you gonna get back on?"
Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy
And
injury.
the FTF showcase, can you explain what that is? Maybe the viewers don't know.
So an FTF showcase is basic. I mean, there's a lot of FTF events. I know they have like tournaments that you can win for money as well and things like that if you're just trying to make some money. But FTF showcases usually they try and broad out your opportunity for scholarships for schools in Canada, and things like that. So it's just another opportunity for you to play football and get an education.
I
Um,
see.
so yeah, FTF is mainly just to help you get an education as well, so that you can get scholarships from schools and um, like that. And I feel like a lot of people think that, let's say when you go to these showcases or there's a scout at a game or something, they think that
Yeah.
they need their team to win for them to be noticed.
To stand out.
Our team got destroyed for nothing in the first game, and me and one of my other teammates got approached by a school. So it's more about focusing on your individual performance, but also when you're part of a team, don't be selfish in a sense, if that makes sense. You want to help the team, but the way I see it is like you help you help your team by being at your best. When you're not at your
Yes.
best, then you're not really doing that much, right? So you want to be at your best every day. There's going to be days where you're going to have an off day. It's normal. It's completely normal to have a bad session, a bad game. And I feel like the most important thing is just not to let the bad game or the bad session let you go down mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Spain, I did have that a little bit where I went down a bit mentally, because I would
Yeah.
have players from, back home. You don't really have players yelling at you, but I would have teammates when I would make a bad pass, let you're fucking shit. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So I went, I'd never experienced in that because, going from playing under 21s and under 23s and things to playing with grown men, like this is the real
This is
deal
the
now. You're
real.
playing
Yeah.
senior level now. So, yeah, but then I just realized that when you kind of just block out what they're saying and just focus on you, I started getting my performance back and everything, and that's all you can really do. So remember the mistakes that you make in life, not just in any sport you play or if you're an athlete or anything. Remember the mistakes, but don't let it get you down, or else you'll just fall into a pit, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've definitely never experienced it to the level you have, but like I can even remember like back in soccer class, there would be moments where I would make a bad pass or I would miss a shot terribly.
Yeah.
And even just someone like insulting you about that, you would get in your head and then you would let it spiral.
That's
Like
when
you'd start saying, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not like
that's
I
when the
shouldn't be
self-doubt
playing."
comes in. Exactly.
Exactly. And then the rest of the day I ended up playing like shit because I allowed those thoughts to consume me, right?
Exactly. And when it comes to self-doubt and things like that as an athlete or just a normal human being, I feel like the best thing to do is like, okay, you're doubting yourself. Firstly, just question, why am I doubting myself? Say, why am I doubting myself? I know I've made that shot before. I know I've made that pass before. I know my ability. I know how much work I put into this. I know I can do it. So sometimes our mind just likes to play tricks, right?
Yeah.
It likes to play tricks and try to destroy you kind of. But I feel like if you just let them be, or what I've done sometimes on the field is just talk to myself like in my head. Just be like, no, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. It's a mistake. It happens. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do. And I remember listening to a player from Man City. His name's Phil Foden.
Yeah.
His coach, Pep Guardiola, the coach of Man City, said that he is like he has more potential than Messi. I think he said, like, and any player he's seen. And he was saying how, he missed like an open net or something, which is like, obviously distraught, but he missed like 3 chances that game, but then he scored because he said he's never seen a player with a mentality that even though he misses, he's thinking, all right, I'm going to get another chance. I'm thinking, I'm going to go again. I'm going to go again. So if you have that growth kind of mindset, it really helps. And I feel like the growth mindset of instead of thinking how talented you are, because like I said before, talent does help. But if you think about, I like to have the mindset of my work ethic is what's really going to get me further than other players and other athletes. That's what's going to get me further. It's not my talent. It's my, obviously it helps, but it's the work that you put in, what you do in the extra hours. What do you do when you wake up? Do you just scroll on your phone for 3 hours, or are you going out for a walk? Are you going for a run? Are you trying to improve yourself in a way? So yeah, I would say mainly that. Yeah, for sure. Just
exactly
improve.
right.
Yeah.
Because I also want to get into, because like the level you're at, right? It's super competitive. Everyone's trying to be pro. Is there any times where there's like disputes between players? Because like at the end of the day, it is a team sport, but like people are trying to look for themselves, right?
Yeah. So
You know.
there
So
has
how do you
been.
deal with that?
I mean, the best way is that to deal with those things is like, you're going to have teammates sometimes where if you give them a bad pass or if you're not having a great game, they're going to be on you. They're going to be on you. I would say that the best way to deal with that is just let them get it out and don't really respond. Don't let them respond really and you don't respond and you just let them let it out first. And then after the game, what I would like to do is just have a conversation with them and kind of clear the air kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in the moment of games, I know because I've had times
High
where I would
pressure.
even yell at my coach when he would be yelling at me, "You're not doing this right, you got to be in this position, everything." I would turn around, I would yell at him just because in the heat of the moment of the game, sometimes you don't even know what you're saying, but you're just in the heat of the moment. Like soccer brings out the best emotions in you and can also bring out the worst emotions.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of incidents where, I've yelled at my teammates have yelled at me, I've yelled at my coach, and then afterwards I would have apologized and things. But I feel like the best way to deal with it is just to focus on yourself in those moments, because like I said, focusing on yourself will help improve the team as well in that sense. But don't get that selfless or the selfish kind of mentality where I need to score every game. I need the stats.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to score, great, but don't think that you need to score every game.
Because that's when you start making bad plays because you're thinking about yourself.
And then also, when you make bad mistakes and your teammates are on you, whatever, it's tough to kind of get out of a mistake. And as a winger, because that's my main position, but I can play fullback, midfield, wherever the coach plays me, I'll play. But mainly my youth was winger or striker, but mainly winger. And there would be times as a winger where if you don't get the ball in the first 10 minutes, it's hard to get in the game.
Yes, yeah.
Like it's hard to get in the game as a winger or in like a midfielder as well. If they're not getting the ball in the midfield, it's like, what are they going to do? They can't really play out wide. They can't play through. They can't really have an opening for the team. So moments like that, it gets distraught, and then your game goes down because you haven't touched the ball in 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then you get in your head.
Exactly, you get in your own head. So I would say the best thing to do is to just stay focused in the game, and like you said in other podcasts, try to live in the present. Don't focus too much about, what mistake you did in the past. Like in a game, I would say, I was talking about earlier about forgetting about your mistakes in a sense, but remember them. I would say forget about the mistake in the game or in the training session. Forget about it. It's done. What are you going to do? After this or after the game, you can think about it so then you know how to improve. But if you're constantly thinking about mistakes, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this pass. I don't know if I'm going to be able to score if I get the ball. Then you're not going to score at all. You just have to be positive and believe in yourself. That's the main thing, is confidence.
Yeah. How do you get into that flow state? Because I assume maybe 30 minutes into the game, you're just on it. Like everything's perfect. Like you know when to make a right pass. You know when to shoot. Like, how do you get into that flow state? Is it just a matter of time within the game, or like, is it because you're allowing yourself to stay present?
I feel like it's depends on the game as well. But when you're in a flow state as an athlete, it's best not to think too much. I've realized, because I've had my best training sessions in games when I was in Spain and even here back home, where I would just be in a flow state, like you said. And I feel like a flow state happens when you're just not thinking. When you get the ball, You know what you want to do already. You're thinking, the only thing you would think about as a high level athlete or football player and things, and you want to go pro, you have to think one step ahead always. You have to think about the next thing you're going to do. But being in a flow state, you're just doing the movements, right? You're just in the
Yeah.
moment. You're living in the present. So I think it does take some time to learn that. But it is a moment of learning, and in the game, it does take time in a game as well sometimes. But I think it's just a mixture of both experience when it comes to that, being in a flow state, but also just kind of not thinking really. And people are going to be like, what do you mean you don't think? Like, just don't think, just do.
Yeah,
Just know
exactly.
what you do, just do. Because when you overthink, then you make things too complicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, just being in a flow state's more or less just doing what you do best. And that's about it, really, I would say.
Yeah, because you've been playing soccer for so long that like you already know when to make certain passes. You know when the space is
Yeah,
open and stuff. So like,
you're taught when you're young, like you know when to pass, you know when to dribble, you know when to shoot.
yeah,
So you're taught all these things when you were younger, and people might think, how do you remember all these things? Because it's just muscle memory now. But when you learn a new thing, like when I was learning things at the highest level in the professional trial, I was like, you get a bit like, whoa, what the heck? I've never seen these things before. Like, I don't think people understand the difference from not kids soccer, but like under 21s and things. There's not really much tactics. Whereas
hmm
I went there and it's like I'm learning about the coach wants you to do this, 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 and this. Like it's very demanding and tactical, which I liked and I learned. But yeah, major difference in that as well for tactics as well.
it's more like a chess game over there, I guess, the way they set it up.
Yeah, like the team that I was training with and everything that I was going to sign as well until I got injured because I was going to sign with them, but then I got injured. That's why I had to come back. I watched their game before I came home, one of their league games, like the league had just started, and the team that they played against wasn't the greatest. They were just more aggressive, and we went down in our level. Like we weren't very good in the game, but their coach had a tactic: good defense, aggressive counterattacks. They
hmm
scored off a corner, and they scored off a counterattack, and they won 2-1. So
Wow.
you can play against the worst team in the world and still lose because of the way they think and things. The tactical difference is insane. And I would say that, different countries and style of play is obviously different, like Spain and Gibraltar. It's more about the passing, the tiki taka always. It's always been about that. But in Gibraltar as well, you have that freedom, which I like, to do what you do. It depends on the
hmm
coach you have as well. Because when you're younger, the coach is like, okay, you're going to play this position. They're not going to talk about tactics when you're 7 years old. They're
Exactly.
just going to tell you, okay, play in this position, stay in here, whatever, do that position, make sure you make the passes, whatever, but do your thing. You have freedom. When you get older, depending on the coach, you might lose a little bit of that freedom because he wants you to play a certain way so that you can help the team achieve the greatest goals. Because when you get to the higher level, when you're at the highest level and you're at the high level, it's not about you anymore. It's more about the team, about helping the
Yeah.
team win trophies, getting into European competitions and things like that. Um, but the coaches still want you to show your individual ability and things because that's how you'll grow and get better and improve.
Exactly. So what was this injury that like kind of sent you back home?
So it's
What was
just
it?
something with my meniscus again, but it's not. It's like nothing too big, I don't think. I'm just waiting for an MRI, but um, even if it's like a tear in my meniscus, because my coach told me he's had it, he messaged me, and he said it's literally like you'll literally be walking right after surgery, so it's not that big like of a recovery. It's more like a minor setback, but again, like I said before, everything happens for a reason. This is going to make me stronger, and I've always been taught by my dad and family, never give up. If this is what you want to do, put everything into it. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I'm putting everything into it. Because I
Exactly.
think I did do a semester at Humber just to see if maybe before I had surgery for my first big injury, the ACL injury, I was going to see maybe I'll do school just as a backup or um, just to see if I enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy it. I realized that school
hmm
wasn't for me after high school. And I realized that, soccer is what I want to do. It's always what I've wanted to do, but now I know for sure. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put everything into it because I know that I can go far. And even if, since I'm back home, I'll try and get into, maybe what I'll do is I'll start training again with League One teams, which is semi-pro now. League One Ontario is semi-pro, and then maybe I'll try and get into the Canadian Premier League, which is also semi-pro, but you'll also be, you know, not that I care about the money, but, you know, just to support myself and that my parents aren't paying for everything again.
Yeah.
I can get in the Canadian Premier League or maybe the MLS, or my coach even said that they might want to see me again, you know, so maybe I'll go back to Spain, right? So there's doors open,
Yeah.
and things like that. So, you know, injuries obviously for an athlete are the worst thing because you just want to be back out there and just training and playing. That's all you really want. But I feel like when you're injured, the best thing to do is just to kind of lower your mentality a little bit until, because I'm at the stage where I don't even know what this injury is. I'm still waiting for the MRI. So I
Yeah,
feel like when you're
exactly.
waiting for results, just kind of do what you can do at this moment. I'm doing workouts for my ab and stuff. I'm doing weights at home because I don't want to get a gym membership and then all of a sudden I can't go to the gym for 2 months because of this injury
Yeah,
or
there's no
something,
point. Yeah.
right? So I would say just when you're in the mental state of, or if someone, one of the viewers is in an injury or something, um, and you don't really know what's going on, I would say just kind of take your mentality down from, I need to get back out there, I need to get back, and just relax, just wait, be patient, and just wait. Because then once you figure out what's going on, once you know what the injury is, then you can switch the mentality back to, okay, I need to do this every day. I need to go to gym. I need to do this. I got to do this. Um, and things like that, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's crazy, bro, because I'm a big believer in you create your own luck, right? And
Yeah.
since you have grown up obsessed with soccer, obsessed with becoming what you want to become, you've created your own luck. That's why you were able to go to Spain. That's why you
Yeah.
have like offers from schools and all these different types of things. It's because you literally played soccer all day, every day.
All
Like
day,
that's
every
all you
day.
cared about. Nothing else mattered, and that's why you're in the position you're in.
Yeah.
And that's why I truly believe that you are gonna make something out of this. Like even
Thank
like
you.
you said, like you tried school, you saw it wasn't for you, and this is what you want to do. And if you wake up every single morning with that burning desire that this is who you want to be,
Yeah.
you're eventually gonna achieve it, bro. You're doing
Yeah.
the things every
Exactly.
single day that matter.
That's what I believe. And even if you, there's going to be days where you might miss a day. There's going to be days where you're going to miss a day. And I've even felt where, you know, like, fudge, man, I missed a day. What am I doing? What am I doing? I should be doing stuff. It's a good thing that you feel a little bit guilty, in my opinion, when you miss a day. But
Yeah,
if you don't feel guilty, then you should think to yourself, well, I didn't really do anything. It's okay. You know, if you start to think like that, then your not obsession, but your mentality starts to kind of drift the other way and be like, oh, I didn't do it. Okay, tomorrow if I feel like doing it, I'll do it. No, even if I did, like this morning, I woke up and I didn't even, to be, because I knew I was going to do the podcast with you, and I have family coming from Montreal and things today, so I wanted to get a workout in. So I even woke up earlier today so that I can work out before talking to you. That's
yeah,
just the mentality I have. Some people might just be like, I don't really want to do it. But when you do things in the moment and you do things when you don't feel like it, that's when you're going to grow the most.
exactly.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, and that's what needs to be done, bro. Because like that's how you like we keep saying over and over again. It's like that's what separates you from your competition. Is like,
Exactly.
are
100%.
you willing to do what they're not able to do? Like maybe the other guy playing soccer in the same level as you woke up this morning and slept a bit more and didn't hit a workout, right?
Yeah.
So that's already separating the gap just a bit.
Yeah. And when I was in Spain, because I was living with roommates, I had 3 roommates. They were all basically from England. And um, I didn't even get a gym membership there because I know they told me that they were going to sign me, but you never know what can happen in football where, you know, for example, my injury. So I wasn't going to pay for a membership. Then all of a sudden I'm back home again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I would still do things at home, go for walks, go for runs, and do workouts at home. I didn't really have weights, but I would do push-ups every day, 100 push-ups. I would do my best just to, you know, you have to make best of what you have. Um,
exactly.
so as long as you make that effort and you just continue to thrive and continue to grow as a person, you learn a lot of things. And also living on my own, not just on the football side, but just living on my own, you know, doing groceries for myself, cleaning my room, doing laundry, going out with my roommates, like to the beach or something. We would go out to the beach like 2-3 times a week, but we wouldn't just go to relax. We would bring a ball and do keep up so that we're doing some form of training, right? So,
Yeah.
and even when my roommates would go to the gym, I get motivated. I'm like, I'm surrounded by players that want to improve as well. So as well as, you want to be the best you can be, I would say surround yourself with people with the same goals as you, the same desires, the same dreams, because that'll help you improve as well. You don't want
Yeah,
to be
being in that
surrounded.
environment.
Yeah, you don't want to be surrounded by people, let's say, that are going clubbing every weekend.
Yeah. You need to be surrounded by people that are doing the things needed to achieve goals, because if you were surrounded by people that were like clubbing every weekend, maybe you would eventually end up clubbing every weekend, and then there you go, you're not on the
Exactly,
same
and then
path
and then you're
anymore.
not on the same path, and then you're also losing time. You're losing sessions. You're losing a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I would say. Surround yourself with people that have the same goals and desires. And it's not a bad thing if you have friends that don't have the same goals. Just kind of, if they ask you, you want to hang out, sorry, that's not my thing. Like I have friends that ask me like, you want to go out, you want to go to a party. To be honest, partying and clubbing is not my thing at all. I would rather be doing things to improve myself. Or just like I would rather be with my family. I haven't seen them in 3 months. I'm going to spend time with my family and enjoy, but I'm still going to find the time to improve myself and be able to continue doing my workouts, my training, whatever I need to do. Like today, for example, like I already said, we're just waking up earlier just to do a workout. Some
Yeah.
people might not be doing that, but I'm doing it because I know it's what I need to be doing to get to the level that I want and to reach my full potential. So yeah, it's just a lot of, I think just life now is just you need a lot of mental strength, I would say. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be special to like to be successful. You don't have to be anymore. Like maybe back in the day to become a professional, you just needed talent. You needed a specific build. Like I know English players and coaches, they like, the tall players, the bulkier players so that they can win headers in the box and things. But nowadays it's just about showing them the work that you want to put in and showing them that you want to be there and things, because that's the main difference in my opinion and what I've experienced and seen.
Yeah. And you need to focus on what you can control, because Leandro, you're a very talented player, but like the talent was there since you were born, since you touched the ball, but like
Yeah,
the work ethic is what you're able to change, what you're
exactly,
able to
100%.
improve on every day. You can't
Exactly.
change the talent, it's always there.
Yeah, it's always there, and that's what sometimes you think, because of the injury I had doubts, the major
Yeah.
injury that I had. I think it's normal for any human to go through that, to have doubts about, I had the biggest doubt, like, am I gonna run as fast as I did before? Am I gonna
Mm-hmm.
be able to just play the same I was before, like the same level? Am I gonna be able to dribble like I was before? Because I feel like one of my main strengths is dribbling, um, and my speed. Um,
Yeah.
but even when you doubt yourself, I think just focusing on the things, like you said, you can control. Just focus on that, because that's all really you can do. You can control the work you can put in. You can control um, the time you put into it and things like that. So just focus on what you can do instead of focusing on the things that you think you might not be able to do and things.
Yeah. Because that's where anxiety comes from, right? Like,
Exactly.
Leandro, you could sit there on your chair all day and say, oh, what if the next time I do a step over, I tear my ACL again, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you can't control that if that happens. All you
yeah,
can do is strengthen yourself, dribble
exactly.
more, become a better player. That's all you can control.
Yeah, exactly. That's what was one of the thoughts I would have as well. But I feel like as a human, the brain is just main
You're
thing.
always going to deal with
You're
that.
always going to deal with that no matter what you go through in life, no matter if it's football, business or something, or just anything, even with family, family situations and things. So I feel like the best thing you can do is to just keep pushing forward, because, and what I've learned is that, saying, oh, what if I did this? I've literally stopped saying that, because it's what if, like, it's not going to happen. You don't know if it's going to happen or not. So what's the point of saying it?
Exactly.
And I've learned that as an athlete, but also as a human, we are afraid of the unknown, like when we don't know
Hmm.
what's going to happen to us and things. So,
Yeah.
like when I first started training again, getting back on the field after my injury, I was scared to, like, should I be running this fast? Should I be doing this? Because I don't want to get hurt again. But like you said, You can't think like that, or else then you're never going to improve.
Yeah. That's literally like I think the most important part of your mindset that you need, it's like to not worry about the what ifs, is to just keep doing what you were doing before your setback.
100%.
And then if something bad happens again, like at the end of the day, it sucks, but it is what it is. You can't control that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And uh, I've grown in my faith a lot since I was younger. Obviously, we've come from similar families, being Portuguese, and the
Yeah.
traditions and the culture of, our faith being Catholic and things. But I was very, being on my own, it was hard. I'm not going to lie, it was very hard. You go from different cultures of, your mom's cooking for you every day, and then you do everything on your own. And then what helped me though when I was in Spain is I literally had a church 5-minute walk from my apartment. So I would go to church every week, maybe even 2 or 3 times. And I've grown in my faith a lot, and I feel like that has helped me a lot, just in the sense of my mentality. It has helped
Hmm.
me, reading Bible verses, praying every night, having a routine like that, praying, having that spiritual life and the effort to grow in my spirituality and things. It has helped me a lot to just be like, all right, I can't control it. God, you take it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what he wants. You take it. That's all I need. I'm
Exactly.
going to focus
So
on what I
what
can.
was that like turning point for you? Because I know about you, but like growing up the same thing as me. Like I was always religious because I had to be, like my whole family's religious.
Yeah, like you
But
grow into it. Yeah.
yeah, but there was always a part of me that didn't really like believe fully, because like I just had my own mindset, like, oh, I don't really know if this stuff is real.
Yeah.
But then, like I've mentioned it on the pod before, like 2 years back, I just had this weird calling to
Yeah.
like go
Yeah.
to church more and start believing more. So did you have something like that as well, where
In Spain, I did. Yeah. Like I would just, because I know most masses were at midday, so 12. But they would
Mhm.
also have night masses sometimes, and it would literally be like 11:45, and I would just look at my phone. Then all of a sudden, I would hear the church bells, and then I would hear like a voice in my head, or so I would just get a feeling like go to church today, even though it's not like Sunday, because I would usually go on Sundays or Saturdays.
Yeah.
I would have, let's say, on a random Tuesday after, or on a day I don't have training or something, because usually depending on my training schedule. Might not be able to go to mass on 12, so that's why I would always try to figure out the days that I could. And then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
on a day off that, like when we wouldn't have training, I would just get this feeling of like go to church, and I would go, and then after it, I would feel so spiritually happy and better mentally and everything. So yeah, for sure, like you, like where you've had those callings of just like go to church, go more, pray more, things like that, for sure. Because I would even have times at home now where I'm just like I might not be doing anything. I'm on my phone, then all of a sudden I'll get a feeling like just put everything away and just pray wherever you are.
Yeah.
Pray. And that's what I would do. It's helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's where people, I guess, make it complicated. Is like, at least to me, like my belief in Jesus is that it's more of like an alone journey. Like we look at religion as like something that you should follow, all these different types of things. But at the end of the day, it's your relationship with God. Like
Yeah,
if you want
exactly.
if you want to go to church on a Tuesday, go to church on a Tuesday. Like I think that's where I've seen the most growth in my spiritual journey, is being able to like do it on my own,
Yeah,
because I'm not being forced by the church. I'm not being forced by anyone. It's I
exactly.
want to get closer to God, and I will find the way to do that
And you're gonna
myself,
find
you
your
know?
own time. Like I've also learned that because I pray the rosary every night before I go to bed. And I put it in my mind like you need to do it before midnight. I don't know why. I just did that one day and like you need to do it before midnight. But I feel like because I would have a talk with my godmother because she's also very spiritual and things like that. And she said, God doesn't care what time you pray as long as
Yeah.
you do it. So now if I like, let's say I might go to bed a little bit later or something because family's coming over or whatever, uh,
Yeah.
I might pray at like past 12, but it doesn't matter because, like you said, we're not forced to pray at certain times. We're not forced to go to church on certain days. You just go when you feel like it. You go when you feel like you need it, or you just, if you like having a routine, then that's good too. Because I feel like benefiting from routines is good. But I remember you talking on the podcast before. It's good to switch up your routine, or else you're going to feel very robotic, and you
Yeah,
don't want to
exactly.
feel robotic. Because as an athlete as well, if you have a robotic mentality, like you do this, 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 and this, you're going to have that's going to go with you on the field or on the court.
Exactly.
It's going to go
Yeah.
with you. Okay, when I get the ball, I got to do this, this, this. No, just try and be in a flow state. Whatever sport you play, whatever you do in life, just be in a flow state. That's what I've benefited from the most, is being in a flow state and just living in the present.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? And like I don't know like what your opinion is, but that's when you look at those mega churches and like a bunch of people, like, thousands of people in one room. Like, I don't feel a connection to God when I'm around so much people. I feel more of a connection to God when I'm alone, like when I'm
I
in my
feel,
room praying,
I
or
feel
when
you.
I'm just like watching videos and learning more about God. Like when I'm surrounded by it, like everywhere, it almost feels like a kind of like a fake connection. But like when it's myself, okay, I want to go to church today,
Yeah,
okay, I want to pray today, that's where I feel more of the connection, and
yeah,
that's why, like, for me, like, I'm Catholic, this, but like sometimes I say to myself, like, I'm just a believer in Jesus Christ, like I believe in him. Like if something happened to the church where I disagreed with, or whatever the case may be, like, I know I always believe in Jesus and
yeah.
him
I
being
agree with
God,
you for sure, 100%. There are
you
things
know?
that some churches might do and things that I might not agree with, but I'm still Catholic, because being Catholic, in my opinion, is just believing in God and growing in your relationship with Him. And
Yeah.
I agree with you, because the town I was living with in Spain it's a very small town. So, there would be maybe like 50 people in church, not many people, but it was a very
Hmm.
religious town and I liked it. Um,
Yeah.
but when I was younger, I remember when my parents would make me go to like the Susan Christ, which in Portuguese is like the Holy Spirit and things, in Brampton and in Toronto, like those big parties and things
Yeah,
they
I
would do.
remember that. Yeah. I used to go
But
to
when
those
I
sometimes.
was younger, I would feel like kind of forced, like, "Oh, I don't really want to." Sometimes I wouldn't want to go, but there's one in September in Brampton, and since my family from Montreal is here, we're gonna go, and I'm excited. Even though it's a lot of people, I just try to, because it's a similar culture. It's
Yes.
more of a, I think it is the Portuguese one. That's what we're going to. So it's a similar culture. Being around people that believe in the same thing. I feel like I enjoy that. But if you believe, or if you're with other people that are Catholic, but they might have different beliefs, because you can be in the same religion, but you believe in different things.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, again, being surrounded by a good environment of people always helps. But yeah, like you said, when I'm at home or if I'm on a walk, even, I just go for nice prayer walks. I prefer to have that one on one so that I can truly um, grow in my relationship with God.
Yeah. And I think that's where I think religion gets it wrong, and that's why some people like despise religion, is
Yeah.
because it's almost like everyone is trying to tell you what to do with
What
God, when
to
it's
do,
like,
how you have to do it, when you have to pray. It's like it's
yeah,
your own relationship. Just do it.
it's like if you read the Bible, like, Jesus didn't do what he did to start a religion. He did what he did to save us, right? So
Exactly, 100%.
as long as you're strengthening your connection with him, like, that's all that matters. And like you're saying, if you do it through community, if you're someone that just likes being alone with it, like, you don't want to talk about it with other people, you just want to keep it to yourself, like,
That's
all of
fine.
those things are fine.
Yeah.
There's no like right way to do it,
Yeah, that's why,
and
like,
that's
sorry to cut you off, but on social media and things, when I see videos of like, oh, can you share this with so many people to spread the word? And of course, I would share, but if you don't want to share it, it's fine. If you want to keep the video to yourself, if you want to just keep it to yourself, because like you said, it's our own relationship with him. It's not like everyone's relationship with God is completely different. Some
yeah,
people might think it's the same, but everyone has a different relationship. We have all been brought on this earth for our own purpose. And even though some people have the same profession, they have a different journey how they got there. God has a
exactly.
different plan for them at the end. You know what I mean? So even though we might do things similar, it's all different at the same time.
Yeah, we're all unique, right?
Exactly.
And that's the thing, bro. It's like you may be unique as a person, but even your connection with God may be unique, right? And it's like, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, what I don't like as well is, like, there are some people that when they get into religion, they have an ego about it, and they may
Yeah.
think they're better than someone else because they believe in God. But at the end of the day, we're all sinners. Like, there might be a sin that you deal with more than me, or there might be a sin I deal with more than you.
More than,
Like, we're
yeah.
all sinners, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And like you said, Jesus didn't come to the world to start a religion. He came to save us. And
Yeah.
there's been this show that I watched. It's called The Chosen, and it's about the life of Jesus. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I suggest it. It's really good because literally every time after I finish watching an episode, just because I'm learning about the life of Jesus and, because, we have like, in school, they kind of teach you religion in a way where, like you said, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, right? But when I've been watching this show and learning from it, you just see how Jesus just wanted to bring happiness and just wanted to help people. That's all he wanted. He just wanted to end suffering. And every time I watch the show, I just get so it's such an indescribable feeling of this spiritual happiness that I feel. And yeah, it's a great show, learning. It's not just about watching it because I feel like I need to, just because I want to. I want to get closer to Jesus. I want to grow in my relationship and things. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, for sure. And you even look at the people that were in the Bible, like all of the apostles, they all did some bad things before they came to Jesus, right? Like
Yeah, and
they all weren't perfect people.
Yeah, and even when they were with Jesus, I think it was Peter denied Jesus 3 times. And Jesus even told him, "You're going to deny me 3 times." And Peter's like, "No, I won't." But then he did.
And he did. Exactly.
But he still loves us, no matter what we do. Jesus loves murderers, robbers, killers, everyone. And it might sound crazy to some people, which sometimes, as a kid, you might think, when you watch people on the news or something and they're in court and they deserve to go to jail, you think, they deserve to die. But we don't really get to judge that. Only God gets to judge that.
Exactly. And people don't see, but like Jesus hates no one. He hates your sin, right? Like he loves everyone. He just hates that we have sinful behavior. And that's the thing, is like, people will say to me, "Oh, how can you believe in Jesus but then do bad things?" It's like, that's just our nature as humans. Like we're going to be bad. We're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, we're going to make mistakes. But the reason why we made mistakes is because of the first mistake that Adam and Eve made.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lived perfectly, we don't know. But that was meant to happen. Like I said, I believe in everything happens for a reason. Even though when I think about it, seeing Jesus crucified and died on the cross, it breaks my heart. But he did that for us. And the fact that me and you are even just living right now is a blessing in itself. Every day is a blessing that we get to wake up, because not everyone has that luxury of waking up the next day, and we don't know what's going to happen to us, right? So that's why I feel like living life to the fullest every day and doing what you can every day, because we don't know what's going to happen. Only God does.
Yeah, 100%. So Leandro, to close it out here, I'm going to ask the question that I ask every single guest, and that is, how do you want to be remembered?
Obviously, I want to be a professional football player, but I want to be remembered as someone who inspired and continues to inspire young athletes to just, no matter what people tell them, to never give up, to keep pushing forward, to go for their dreams. No matter what you go through, it's different from everyone else. You might have people telling you can't do it, but it doesn't matter what people think. You just got to believe in yourself. And I love this quote that I found, and I'm just going to close it out with a few quotes. It costs $0 to believe in yourself. So it costs nothing to believe in yourself. And like I said, you don't have to be special. Just do the work, do what you think you need to do, and do more if you can. And one more, my favorite quote that I've had when I went through surgery is, "The wolf that is climbing the mountain is more hungry than the wolf that is standing on top." So if you're already on top of everything, if you think that you've achieved all your goals already, then you're not going to be as hungry, and you're going to think, "Oh, I already know everything." But the truth is, when you're still climbing, you're still trying to grind to get to that goal, and you always want to learn, you're going to have that growth mindset of, "I'm going to keep going. I want to keep going. I haven't reached it yet." And then what I think that would help is setting more goals. Let's say, for example, I want to become a professional, but I don't want to stop when I become a professional. I want to go to, I don't know, the best divisions in the world. I want to go to England, Portugal, Spain. I want to play for the Portugal national team, right? I want to do these things. So I would say, once you reach a goal, maybe set higher goals. And if your dream's not big enough, if your dream isn't big enough, if your dream doesn't scare you, then your dream's not big enough.
Exactly.
And I just want to be remembered as an inspiration to people. That's what want to be remembered.
For sure. Very well said, Leandro.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
All right. So thank you for coming on. I think you gave a lot of good insights to your journey, and like I know there's plenty of people that may be listening to this that want to go on a similar journey that you have been on. So I feel like you definitely are inspiring people, even if it's just a little bit of people.
Thank
so
you.
You're already starting on the way you want to be remembered. But we're going to close it out here. Thank you, everybody, for listening in and making it this far. If you enjoyed the podcast, remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify. And yeah, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you, Leandro.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, take care, everybody.
You too. Take care, guys.